In the first A Song of Ice and Fire book, A Game of Thrones, a hired gun tries to kill Bran Stark, setting in motion the War of the Five Kings. In the next book, A Storm of Swords, Jaime and Tyrion Lannister independently conclude that Jaime's nephew's son Joffrey hired a Catspaw. Jaime specifically seems to think Joffrey wanted to impress his father, Robert Baratheon, who in his cups said it would be a mercy to kill Bran after his fall from a tower. I don't think I'm alone in my disappointment that Joffrey being behind the Catspaw seems to be the definitive answer to this mystery. The reasoning behind it doesn't feel right to me. What we see of Joffrey in the books, he doesn't seem that interested in impressing Robert Baratheon. Him flying Lannister flags beside Baratheon flags when he's king, which as far as I know was a first for the kings of Westeros, seems to indicate to me he knows who he is and is proud to identify as a Lannister first and foremost. Sure, Joffrey admired warriors, but the last time Robert exhibited any warrior tendencies was during the Greyjoy Rebellion, when Joffrey was a literal infant. We never get Joffrey as a POV character, but I have to assume Robert is as much of a disappointment to Joffrey as he was to Cersei. So Joffrey wanting to impress Robert just doesn't hold much water to me, and I think to many others as well. The TV series doesn't point the finger at Joffrey, and instead seems to implicate Littlefinger, though this doesn't really work in the book's timeline, as Littlefinger was in King's Landing when Bran fell, and by the time he would have heard about Bran's little accident, he wouldn't have had time to hire an assassin to make it to Winterfell to do this. Also, you have to ask why Littlefinger would do this. He's the kind of guy who takes advantage of a chaotic situation to try to maneuver himself into a higher position of power, but I have a hard time believing he would want to kill the child of the woman he professes to love. Yeah, maybe Bran would remind Littlefinger that Cat wasn't his, but I don't know, that seems weak. There's another schemer, Varus, the King's Master of Whispers, who doesn't seem to know who is behind the Catspaw, and if his conversation with his buddy Illyrio Mopatis is to be believed, this attempt on Bran's life accelerates chaos in the Seven Kingdoms that will get in the way of whatever Varys and Illyrio are planning. So I don't think either of them were behind this. Since I usually spend my Fridays suggesting ways something could have been improved, what is my suggestion for an alternative besides Joffrey being behind the Catspaw? This one may be short and disappointing. That's what he said, you know, about his son. LOL, I love parental disappointment. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go with Occam's razor on this one. Sometimes the simplest solution is the correct solution. I know I assumed Cersei was behind the Catspaw because that made sense. Bran saw her in a compromising situation, and she didn't want it getting out that she was committing treason. Jaime reasoned that Cersei would have sent him if she wanted Bran dead, and that she wouldn't want to send somebody else to botch up the job. Oh, you mean like how you did when you tried to kill Bran? If I was sleeping with my brother and didn't want anyone to know, and a little kid saw me in flagrante delicto, I would want to take care of that as soon as possible. When you've got an attempted murder to solve, and you're looking for suspects, you generally want to look for someone who has means, motive, and opportunity. Cersei has all three, while Joffrey really only has two. I know this was a short one, but I've recently been reading A Game of Thrones, and this stuck out to me like a sore thumb. I hope you guys like this one. A bit of an unusual topic for a fixed video, since I don't think I've ever done a prose book before, but if you did enjoy it, or if you didn't, I'll see you in the future when I talk about something else. Have a good one.